Sir, some would say that you are a paradox. You are new, but you come from the old. You are young, but you are not really that young in terms of your mindset and your views. You are with the Liberal Party, but your family used to be closely associated with the Marcoses. And you are, in a way, you are smart, you are schooled, but you could also sound folksy at times. Is it fair to say that you are indeed a paradox?
I think any individual with the kind of background that I have would necessarily be a paradox. Having grown up in a very political environment, but also having been educated by the Jesuits in the Ateneo, where we are taught critical thinking and a lot of self-reflection, that alone is going to make anybody wonder, and myself included, what I'm doing in this line of work.
Critical thinking by the most conservative sect.
Well, exactly. Well, they say that the most liberal of the conservatives. But to your point, no, I'm 32. Officially, I still belong to the young sector. But I think, honestly, anyone belonging to my age range who would dare enter politics at this critical point in our country's ethos would necessarily have to be a paradox. But come to think about it, most Filipino politicians are paradoxes. So maybe I'm not unique in that sense.
But you are also a bit of everything. Todo en poco.
Exactly. That is that's the bio I have in my Facebook account. De todo un poco, a little of everything.
Even in your column for DNX.
I remember exactly. Yes, and that is rooted actually in a book written by my great grandfather, who was Presidente Municipal of La Carlota, Don Victoriano Rodriguez. He wrote it. He was a friend of Rizal's, actually, way back. He corresponded, I think, with the family of Rizal for a lengthy period of time. He was anti-friar, and it was written in Spanish, of course. And what was interesting is that the same problems he was writing about back then, in the late 19th century, seem to be the same problems we have today. So I guess it's a very wonderful title. It's very, de todo un poco, a little of everything, because maybe some things really never truly change.
Yeah. Although laban subong a little of everything, no? Getting a bit too much of a little of everything.
There's, I think to be a successful politician, you have to be a bit of everything.
Yeah, sa bagay.
Yeah, except of course, there are also very successful politicians who are too much of something.
Although, Chakto, no?
Yeah.
Sa information age, you can be everything on social media.
Right, right. You can be either the person you want to be, or you aspire to be, and sometimes there are individuals who choose to use that opportunity negatively.
Or at times you pretend to be not to be what you are not
Correct.
actually.
There you go.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, who can really aggregate nowadays?
Yeah. And but of course, what are the shared values that we have right now, no?
Claro. I mean, I took up communication. And so there was always this concept of a shared experience. I mean, I still belong to that experience where we could say we watched the same nightly news on TV, where we watched the same, even in the early days when the internet service was not so good, but then we were passing around USBs with pirated copies of series. At the very least, we could still say, did you watch the latest episode of Game of Thrones when it came out? But nowadays, no, it's all scattered. I think, was it Marshall McLuhan, or was it, I forgot which communication scholar who said that while it's beautiful that everybody is connected, nobody is in control.
But that sounds like chaos, actually.
Well, isn't that what, sometimes when there's too much freedom, then there's no control anymore.
And that's my worry, actually, because wala na ta shared experience, wala na ta shared values. Even consumption of porn Sang, di ba? So, parang may skandal ko, di aring CD. And everyone shares that. Subong niya, okay, di in kagalantaw nga porn site. Ya, ako niya mo ni, imo ya. I don't know if that's actually good or bad for us, di ba?
Well, yeah.
I mean, we have our invented realities.
Yes. Invented and augmented realities.
Augmented.
Yes.
Well, strangely, augmented realities. You can actually have 3D porn, subong. But you can't actually do 3D governance. Like you do it from the comforts of your living room.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Yeah.
Which brings me to that. No? You actually spent your first year as vice mayor just recently.
Yeah, year and a half.
Year and a half.
Halfway through our term.
How was it?
Admittedly, learning the ropes of being vice mayor was not very difficult. I served as councillor prior to that, and so as far as public policy is concerned, both the creation and analysis of which was not very difficult to learn. However, what was difficult was finding out kung ready gid ba lang Himamaylan sa kind and pace at which we wanted to rev it. You know, Raymund and I, when I say Raymund Tongson and I, we're relatively young. We're a young tandem. In fact, one of our campaign slogans was, if you added our ages together, we would be younger than most candidates running. No, not most, some candidates running. But you see, it was bagong direksyon sa bagong henerasyon. That was what we were telling the people. And with that, with youth comes vitality. With youth comes dynamism. With youth comes a certain impatience. But when we came to Himamaylan, we found it in a sorry state. Let's just put it this way. The analogy is, it was like an old engine that needed a lot of tuning up first. And so we could not make it perform the way we truly wanted to, at the pace and the level at which we wanted to, very quickly. And so the first couple of months was really painstaking, going through the bare bones of it to make it ready for takeoff.
Mm-hmm. And you are a Gatuslao. Ang previous mayor was a Gatuslao.
Bascon.
I was a Bascon. It was actually a Gatuslao,
Yeah.
no? But I remember during the first few days, ang ginistorya ni Mayor Tongson was about what happened in the past.
Yeah.
No? Pero can we actually say you have adopted now a more conciliatory approach with regards to the past administration?
I have a minor in history. I'm also a trained amateur historian. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, I will finish my master's in history in Siliman. And so while there are some people who may dismiss the past as something that is no longer relevant, I always view things from a longer perspective. It is very difficult to just dismiss what had happened before, especially when you are facing challenges that are not rooted in the present or in just last year, but are rooted in deep-seated structural issues that have not been addressed all these years. But to your point of having a conciliatory approach, all a person has to do is to go to my office and see that in my conference room, all the vice mayors of the past are on my wall for everyone to see, and because I recognize their contributions to the city. So I mean, that alone, and I take great value, and I take great, and I have gratitude to everybody who came before me, because I think the office where I serve now is what it is because of them as well.
Mm-hmm. And let's go back to that. No? Ang nagligad ng administrasyon, has it done something for Himamaylan? And in that case, because I have a bit of not really a problem, but an observation. As you have said, ang youth comes with impatience, and
Yes.
actually there's also a tendency to supplant the past with the now.
Yes.
Ang nagligad to puro to sala, which is what happened to Mao Zedong, no? Or Vietnam, Pol Pot, for example.
The great leap forward.
It's
cultural revolution.
Which is the problem with conflict theory, actually, you know, which permeates everything now,
Correct.
from identity politics to...
Right.
Dannah, padugalayo na nga ito ni istorya.
No, but to your point, I get your point, Jules.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like this. It's a progression. So if the question is, may hinimuan ba ang previous administration? Of course, may hinimuan sila. But I guess there comes a point when people recognize that your time's up. And I think in 2019, they saw that you have these two young, dynamic challengers who were supported by a coalition that, quite honestly, even to political observers, both in Himamaylan and in the province, could not imagine the kind of coalition that we were able to put together. And, well, change happened.
Pero kung nang taon-ta objectively, kung sa sugilanon pa sang hinigay noon, linghod pa nga syudad ng Himamaylan mo, it's like
Yes,
what?
2001.
2001, 19
So we are,
years old.
yeah. We're turning 20 this year, come to
Oh.
think about it. Sakto, we're 2021. 20 years old this year.
20. Pero kung silingin ng case study, anong natabo sa isa ka syudad no, sa sulod sang 20 anyos? Ano ang mga naangkon na nga pagbago do? Wala pa sang detalyado nga pagtuon parte sila, no?
No, I don't. Well, unless we go to the Philippine Institute of Development Studies, perhaps, yes, they would have case studies there. But as far as Himamaylan is concerned, wala pa gid man ta na case study. But I think we have very promising partnerships happening now. I will not mention it yet because we have not formally signed the memorandum of agreement, but Mayor knows about this already. A huge business group from Manila has chosen Himamaylan as its next destination for public policy, for engaging public policy and civic engagement, bringing these two together, particularly through digital democracy. This is in relation to the application that I applied for, to the grant that I applied for, and I used the money to create the Citizens Participation and Governance application. It's in relation to that. We're going to be the second LGU in the entire country, only after Pasig City, to receive this kind of technical assistance from this huge business group in Manila. And so hopefully, this is a step, no, not only hopefully, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. And once we get literature out of the way, perhaps we can share it with PIDS.
Yeah. We also want to do a study about cities in Negros Occidental.
We have the most number of cities in the country.
Yeah.
Many of our cities, if you really look at it, political observers would say that they're not even supposed to be cities. But we let's just say we have very skilled politicians who were able to make it happen.
Gerrymandering this say, no? But bagong direksyon, bagong henerasyon,
Yes,
bagong
direksyon.
direksyon, no? What made your direction different from that of the past?
I'll put it in an analogy, I think, where people could understand. We've pressed play finally. We're moving at normal speed, the way I think a city should be running and should be revving. I mean, all we have to do is to look at investors coming in. It announced the other day. I'm not saying I'm a fan. I'm not saying that health-wise fast food is good, but
yeah, I saw it.
Right? I'm not saying health-wise fast food is good, but I mean, if a fast food chain opens in your city or in your town, it means that there's something going on there.
Yeah.
We're also in talks with a major mall developer. That hopefully we will be able to. We can't say which one yet, but we're cleaning up some property issues. We're also, I think, basta, there just seems to be this excitement when it comes to Himamaylan, as though, people are saying, what was Himamaylan before? And now they're starting to explore our geographic significance, the wealth of our resources and our people, which is why moving forward, it's not anymore bagong direksyon sa bagong henerasyon. We have adopted the slogan, we are stronger together, because our pitch is really for unity in Himamaylan, given that the direction towards actually realizing nga pagkasyudad ang Himamaylan is already happening.
Mm. Ano pa ang pwede ninyo mahimo in the next 1.5 years?
Well, I just want to put things into perspective. As far as the Consejo is concerned, I'm very proud that we have surpassed, no, in terms of the number of ordinances that we've passed. We're running 38, 39 since we sat down in 2019, July 1. 39. That is more ordinances than the past 2 councils combined. So than the past 6 years. We have passed more in our 1.5 years. Now, I'm not saying quantity is everything. The quality is more important. But I'll give you an example of quality legislation. The fact that we have been able to light up our highway, and so many people are really telling us about this, no? Nga kanami si Himamaylan, kung gabi magsulod ka sa Himamaylan, pwede mo i-off imong nga suga. Because our highway until the poblacion area is well lit. Now, the reason why we were able to do that was because we passed legislation, which I authored, that requires the LGU to shift within a 5-year period from regular light bulbs to LED lights already, and requires the allocation of at least 1 million pesos annually. It's a bit small, but it's a floor, not a ceiling. 1 million pesos annually for the purpose of investing in renewable energy sources and investing in off-grid and on-grid systems. So we're talking to a supplier now, fingers crossed, if the budget aligns and if the private sector partner is very much willing, we might have the first solar-powered city hall. Mm-hmm. Yes. On grid, of course.
On grid.
On grid. But a large percentage of our power will come from solar.
Mm-hmm. But then again, ang Himamaylan was a city for like 19 years. Can you say nga wala pa rin na-unleash ang full potential niya?
Not at all.
Ang reputation sa Himamaylan, dusty stopover ka mo eh.
Exactly.
Mapakabankalan ka.
Correct.
Mapundo ta din ay sayab ukon nga siyudad kay mga pita.
In a way, the imagery that mayor has put forward of the sleeping dragon being finally awakened is very, I think it's apt. Of course, I'm not sure if it's wise to use a mythical creature but the imagery is beautiful. The imagery is beautiful. But I'd like to think that it's really unleashing. I think what's fairly clear is that Himamaylan has awakened. Himamaylanons are now taas noo, kumbaga. I'll give you an example of how interesting the dynamic is. We recently authorized Mayor to enter into a loan with one of our government banks. Mm-hmm. This is for the development of our port and for the establishment of like a promenade by our riverways, a la Iloilo, okay, for tourism purposes, etc. It did not require a public hearing.
Why so?
Believe it or not, loan ordinances do not require public hearings.
Seriously?
Seriously. Okay, but I said no. I insisted as presiding officer that we need to have a public hearing.
Wait. Is that actually a law that loan ordinances?
It's like this. It's not stated in the law that you require.
Okay.
There are certain ordinances there are certain measures that require public hearings.
So the tree has been barking at the wrong dog for the longest time.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but anyway, the truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. But anyway,
weird.
So we had the public hearing, and nobody complained. Nobody even questioned why the amount. Give us details. I said, are details? This is the plan. Sukton nyo kami kung hindi mahuman.
Kung bakolod ka mo, but lang.
Well, with a highly urbanized city, the perspective is different. What's beautiful in Himamaylan, but also very challenging, is that we came in with a tabula rasa, with a blank slate. There was so much that needs to be that still needs to be done, and we're slowly working.